Hello, everyone. This is Fraser Valley Focus, and I'm your host, Peggy. And today we're talking all about the Abbotsford Community Foundation. Supporting a community happens in so many ways, both large and small. Perhaps it's about fostering education through scholarships and grants. Perhaps it's about sharing our heritage stories. And let's not forget supporting programs for youth, including sports, nutrition, camps, and so much more. The people behind many of these community building programs in the City of Abbotsford is the Abbotsford Community Foundation. This one organization funds a truly surprising number of programs all across the spectrum of things for kids from 1 day to 100 and more. My guest today is here to explain how some of this amazing group works. She's the executive director of the foundation, responsible for much of the fundraising and the relationship building that creates expansion and learning opportunities for so many of us. She's also a recipient of the Order of Abbotsford, a member of the local Rotary Club, and a recognizable local business person. Please welcome Wendy Neufeld. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Peggy, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Oh, good. Well, can you please give us some highlights of what the foundation has been able to do in the last year? It sounds like there's a lot that's happened.
It is amazing, truly amazing year that we've had in 2020. When people ask me what I do, I always say that I raise money to give it away. and in 2020, we raised a lot of money and we gave a lot of money away. So one of the things that I would like to highlight about 2020 is that we had a record year for granting into our community.
Oh, wow.
$1.3 million was flowed and invested into the community through our various programs in 2020.
Incredible. And how did that happen? Because I know there's an emergency COVID relief fund. You have a lot of projects all running at the same time. Actually, it was quite surprising. Your website, abbotsfordcf.org, was really fascinating to read for me. But can you highlight some of those individual programs?
Yes, I can. So every year we offer Smart and Caring grants, and 2020 was no exception. That goes out to our charity partners for their programs for kids and families at risk in the community. But when the pandemic hit us hard and we were shut down as a society in March, we very quickly thought, oh boy, there's going to be a number of charities that are really going to be needed, what we would consider to be frontline charities. And so what we did is we took some of the money that we would normally have charities apply for, and we allocated it to an emergency COVID relief. And with that small amount of seed money, which was $30,000, we were able to raise an additional almost $100,000 on top of that. And we were able to provide grants to frontline charities. So what we did, Peg, is we identified 4 charities in Abbotsford that we thought would almost right away need some financial help.
Okay.
So that was the Archway Food Bank, Sarah for Women, and Sarah for Women helps women with domestic violence, Salvation Army for the homeless community, and Cyber Center, which is for homeless youth in our community. So those 4 charities, we did some fundraising specifically for emergency COVID relief, meaning they didn't have to apply for grants from us. We were going to raise money for them, and then we were going to go and just give it to them as quickly as we could.
Oh, wow. So you cut the time frame down to virtually nothing for them, because I know, having been a volunteer with a number of nonprofits, that's always the holdup, is that you have to apply, then you have to wait, then there's a review, then you have to wait. So you just completely eliminated that delay.
Yes, we did.
Altogether.
Yeah, we did. And
that's amazing.
It was so gratifying to go and give them pretty large checks in a very short period of time that they didn't even expect. And we went and we delivered a check, and we actually on our website have a video of each of those recipients receiving some of the money. So people could go to our website under the granting area and they would be able to watch those videos.
It might be easy to think that large projects, when you're talking this kind of scale, 1.3 million is a lot of money in a single year. And it might be easy to think that large projects are all that you do. But one of the most interesting things I read about the foundation is you have an initiative called the Responsive Neighborhood Grant. I found this story very interesting. Can you please tell us more about this and the goals of that project particularly?
It's one of my favorite. It's what I call grassroots granting.
Awesome.
And it's not charities that apply for the money. It's ordinary folks in our community, people who want to bring their neighborhoods together, get to know each other. And of course, in a pandemic year, that wasn't a simple thing. So we changed the focus of that to call them responsive grants, meaning that that didn't necessarily mean that people would have to come together in person, but they could bring people together in different ways. So we had about $17,000, and anyone in the community could apply for a grant from between $500 and $1,000. They were responsive because they were adjudicated on a weekly basis. So again, putting money in the hands of the community as quickly as possible. A couple of the projects that I thought were just really, really fun, and some of them really well thought out. There was a project called Christmas Cheer, and it was a card making kit that would be provided to anyone who asked for it, where children at home could make cards for seniors. And then this group of individuals would go out and deliver those cards to the seniors' homes. Well, they did not expect the kind of response they had. They very quickly spent all of the $1,000 grant they had, and then they were able to raise money and get other community members to chip in and help them. Members like the Abbotsford Police Department, they jumped in and started to help them with distribution of the card making kits, and it was just a phenomenal thing that happened with that one. But that's one example. For example, there was another one where there were cultural care packages put together for the South Asian community, and especially the seniors who became very isolated, as we know, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Another example that we had were one neighborhood did what they call gratitude pumpkins. And in their street and neighborhood, they distributed pumpkins and treats to every doorstep of their neighbors. One of the reasons we do this program is because we know that if we know our neighbors, we feel safer in where we live. And so this program really helps to bring neighbors together, bring community together, which is really what a community foundation is all about, is bringing a community together.
Maybe that's something that we should answer too, is can you explain the structure of the community foundations? Because there's a national organization. You're part of this national organization, I believe. And how does this work exactly? Because there are different community foundations all across Canada, different cities. There's the Vancouver Foundation, which is a different type of organization. But maybe you could describe exactly what this is, because I think a lot of people assume that this kind of granting doesn't happen outside of structured government or large education institutions, that kind of thing. So maybe you could fill in that missing piece of information for us as well.
I sure can. The Community Foundations of Canada is an overarching umbrella for all community foundations in the country. There are 191 community foundations from coast to coast, and almost every single town, city, area is represented by a community foundation. They may not be specifically in that town, but they cover that geographical area. And so British Columbia actually has the most community foundations of any province in the country. I believe it's around 52 or 54 community foundations in British Columbia alone. You're right, the Vancouver Foundation is one of them. They're actually the largest community foundation in the country. Okay. And they are very large. They do a lot of great work throughout our province. And then each community has their own respective community foundations or are represented by a community foundation that covers a geographical area. So for Abbotsford, we are the Abbotsford Community Foundation. We come under the umbrella of Community Foundations of Canada. which actually is a very unique thing, because when the federal government announced that there would be COVID emergency relief for charities,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very big logistical project to undertake.
Yeah, I wondered about that at the time. I thought, well, who's going to manage all of that?
Right. So the Community Foundations of Canada was perfectly positioned to be one of the partners to distribute that funding. So they could go to 191 community foundations from coast to coast and offer a portion of the funding that each community foundation that knows their community and knows their community needs could then offer out in grants. And so that was one of our major programs in 2020, and it was called the Emergency Community Support Fund. And there was 2 rounds of funding for a total of $315,000 that we were able to distribute just in Abbotsford for Abbotsford charities.
That's what's particularly interesting about that 1.3 million figure, is that that's not spread across the entire Lower Mainland. That was Abbotsford specific, and that other community foundations had other presences in other communities. So it's really difficult to imagine if we could have accomplished anywhere near as much in the past year without that kind of financial support. I mean, we wouldn't have, is the simple answer. So
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there really is not very many other large organizations that could have done what Community Foundations of Canada did with that Emergency Community Support Fund. There were 2 others. One was Red Cross, and the other one was United Way. So those 3 charities were the charities that distributed all of the funds through the emergency community support funding that was announced for COVID relief.
So you do a lot of management of projects yourself, or no? This is strictly funding that's given to other organizations to manage their own projects?
Yes, there's a number of partnerships that we undertake, and there are some things that we do for the community. For example, we do what's called a vital signs report every second year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we produce a report. There's a number of them on our website that gives the community and our community partners an idea of how we're doing in certain areas. For example, in housing, or in food security, or in safety. And we do a poll in the community, and then we produce a report based on statistics and how our community responds as well to those issues. And it's a very informative report that helps charities in particular know where there might be some gaps in helping our community with funding or programs, and then they're able to adapt and fill in those gaps.
That I didn't know. So just the analysis of that data, the gathering and the analysis of that data, that's worth one single organization's value on its own. Like the value of that information is unbelievable. I mean, I'm assuming that more than nonprofits too rely on that data. I mean, do civic organizations also rely on that data for decision making, or?
Well, I know from the feedback that I've received that there are many other organizations that use that report. Lots of them use it in their requests for funding to receive support for things that they're doing in the community that might also fill in some of the identified gaps. We also, the City of Abbotsford was a partner with us last year to produce the report. And I believe the City of Abbotsford finds that report very useful in a number of initiatives that they may be undertaking. So yes, to answer your question, it's not just charities. It's for the entire community in whatever way they might be able to utilize it to help them with their own respective projects or programs.
One of your biggest areas of granting, at least it appears to be your biggest area of granting, is student awards. So for many people, this is essential. I mean, they would just not be able to complete their post-secondary education without grants and awards. So please tell us about how you prioritize this so that you can continue to offer these grants.
So you are correct. The Student Awards Program with the Abbotsford Community Foundation is one of our largest granting programs for scholarships and bursaries. There are 9 high schools in Abbotsford that participate in the program. That is all of the Abbotsford School District high schools, and MEI is one of the private high schools. And each year, actually right at this time, from February 1st to February 22nd this year, we accept and open up applications for students to apply for, again, for this year, 347 awards and about $348,000 of funding.
Whoa.
This is a priority for us because our focus and our passion is to help children and youth in our community. And so with these scholarships, many students just get that boost of confidence they need to go to post-secondary
That's right.
education, because a lot of them they will be the first in their family to attend post-secondary school. And this scholarship program is really, time after time, when we ask for students, what we would call our scholarship alumni, if we ask them what was the effect of that scholarship, almost every time they say it gave them confidence, gave them the...
That's right.
It gave them that confidence that they would be able to go to post-secondary and that they would do well. Nowhere near covers the cost of post-secondary education. As we know, it's very expensive. However, it does give them that little boost that just might put them into applying to a university or to a college.
And sometimes the nudge is the nudge that makes all the difference in the world.
That's right. And we do have a number of stories on our website under the blog section of community members who are now in different positions of leadership, that they started their post-secondary education with a scholarship from the Abbotsford Community Foundation. So that makes it very rewarding. It's rewarding for us. It's rewarding for the students. And this program is one of our priority programs because it has so much impact, and we are all about impact in our community. We want to invest in our community. We want to inspire people to go to college. We want to inspire them to support community needs. And we want to have that impact, the impact that we've had over the last 42 years of being in our community and providing grants and scholarships.
All the lives that those educational grants have touched, not just the students themselves, but their families, their children, all the people that they help in the careers that happen because of that education. The amount of impact is literally incalculable. It's
incredible. Over 5,000 students and more than $5 million is what we've given out in this program. Now, we're just the conduit, Peggy. Our donors are the ones who actually make this happen. Our donors are the ones who provide the funds, who set up the scholarships, who adjudicate the scholarships in many cases. So we can't do this without our community and without the donors that support our programs.
Speaking of which, so if someone wants to help, how can they do that? Obviously, you obviously want donations, but you must have, I know that you have one big fundraising event coming up in September.
Yes, that's right. It's our 6th year. It's our Smart and Caring Golf Classic. And it's a wonderful golf tournament. I've been involved with it for 5 years now. And it's just a lot of fun. The day of the tournament is just great fun for the golfers. We have an amazing amount of corporate sponsors and partnerships that we're extremely grateful for. We have a very robust golf planning committee. I think this year we have 12 members on our golf planning committee, all community members who are passionate about helping us raise money so that we can give it away. And this golf tournament is unique in that we're not raising money for the Abbotsford Community Foundation. We're raising money for our charity partners. So that's why we call it the Smart and Caring Golf Classic, because it supports our Smart and Caring Community Fund. every year, the net proceeds of our golf tournament go into the endowment capital of that fund. And when I use the word endowment, I mean it's permanently invested money that is never spent. It's only the income on that money each year from the investments that funds the grants. And because of this golf tournament, this year in our Smart and Caring Community Fund, we are able to offer grants for $125,000.
If there's someone listening who thinks that their organization or them personally might be eligible for one of the programs that you support, where can they go for more information?
Well, the best place to go to start with is our website.
Right.
Our homepage is at Abbotsford CF Community Foundation. AbbotsfordCF.org is our website. And on the homepage, there's some very colorful pictures of all the different programs that are open for applications and funding.
Mm-hmm.
As well, we have lots of information on the website about our events, the golf tournament, about the different granting streams of funding that we have. We have a great blog that gives all kinds of fun stories and of impact and inspiring numbers of what we've been able to do in our community.
It's a great looking website, by the way. It's easy to navigate and find information. I thought I should mention that.
Thank you. Well, we have 9 committees at the Abbotsford Community Foundation. One of them, the newest one, is our Marketing and Communications Committee. And that committee is amazing. They have done so much volunteer work for the Abbotsford Community Foundation by way of marketing and promotional materials, the website. We're just so very grateful for our volunteers on our committees. We have over 50 volunteers, including our board of directors, of course. And our board of directors is all volunteer, and they each chair one of the committees of the foundation. So we can't do what we do without those volunteers. Another way to find out information about us is through all of our social media channels. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Our YouTube channel has lots of really fun and great videos that you can watch that will really demonstrate the work that we do.
Yeah, the videos are great, actually. I was surprised at how many of them you had, and they're very clear and it's well done. So kudos to the volunteers who've worked so hard to produce those, because they've obviously worked really hard. Well, thank you so much. This has been really informative. And Wendy, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. If you would like more information about the Abbotsford Community Foundation, you could go to abbotsfordcf.org. And if you'd like to hear more of our episodes, we'll be back every Tuesday at 4 p.m. You can visit our website to find every episode. That is fraservalleyfocus.ca. You can also follow us on all of our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you out in the valley. Bye-bye. Fraser Valley Focus is a product of Events Plus Management Limited, a local Langley family-owned company. The Focus is produced by Peggy Richardson and Heather Rodland. Social media for The Focus is performed by Heather Rodland. Audio engineering is performed by Peggy Richardson. Thank yous to Barb Nelson and Jeff Clay. The Focus is created and enjoyed with gratitude and respect on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, the Kwantlen, Tawasin, Katzie, and Semiahmoo. All data and content copyright Events Plus Management Limited 2020.